session. So we'll have this recording, and then I'm going to start sharing my screen where the Certify is. Awesome. How's it look? Are we good? All good. Okay, cool. Yeah, Jose, I'm excited everybody's here. So if you can't see the title page of the Why Certify, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm assuming everyone can see that. All right, awesome. We're going to get started. For those in attendance, if you have any questions or comments, please throw them in the chat. At the end, particularly, I'll make sure to leave some time to make sure that we go through some of those and answer questions as we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited about this. My name is Jessica Rudd. I'm based here in Atlanta. I currently work for MailChimp as a data engineer in their data platform team, working on their kind of internal focused data products. Before that, I was at the CDC for 10 years. I was in academia for 4, and I worked and created a startup data generation product for 2 years. So please don't do the math and figure out how old I am based on my experience. And so why are we here today? So I'm one of the GDG co-leaders. I'll introduce my co-leader, Zach, and he can kind of give a little bit of his background, and then I'll sort of swing back around and explain sort of why we're here and what our aim is for this program. So Zach, why don't you jump in and give us a little bit of your background and sort of your goals as one of our co-leaders.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, people, for jumping on. It really means a lot to see a lot of people in here wanting to get certified and upskilled because with uncertain economic times, we got to make sure we stay competitive. That's just the honest to goodness truth about it. Nice to meet you guys. My name is Zach Farley. I am the director of a nonprofit organization called Kit Labs, and I am also a software engineer. Been a software engineer for about 7 years. Right now, I'm at a IoT company using Python, JavaScript, all that fun stuff. But I'm also here as a co-organizer for GDG Atlanta. And right now, what our goal for GDG Atlanta is really to help you guys get and stay competitive. This workshop is going to be one in many series, but I'll let Jessica kind of talk about that. That is it for my intro. Jessica, take over.
Yeah, thanks so much, Zach. Yeah, I see some comments in here. Meredith, that's great. Yeah, we will just sort of a little housekeeping. We will share this slide deck with the attendees at the end. It's also in our Slack workspace. Slack is where a lot of, I think, primary communication streams will end up. The link to that will be at the end of this deck. I'll also share that in a follow-up email. As well as I will share my LinkedIn later as well if people are interested in connecting for any other professional reasons as well. And I just used as well many times, I realized that. So why are we here? Yeah, so today we're going to go over, this works. Today we're going to go over a little bit about GDG Atlanta, the certification program, and kind of how it's going to work from our perspective, what we're going to provide, and just get everybody really excited for signing up and being part of this study cohort to as Zach says, upskill. So GDG is Google Developers Group. If you're not familiar, these are community-led groups of developers who are generally interested in Google technology, but really, I am a Google technology user in my current role, but I think I'm a general technology user, right? So we want people to be familiar across the board with all sorts of technologies. And the truth of the matter is, upskilling involves being flexible in kind of the skills that we have. The great thing about focusing on some of the Google technologies and even this certification program is it trains you to use a platform that has many different products embedded in it, and how you actually take, not just learn specific tools, but how you learn those in the context of doing applied work in a job set. And honestly, having worked across many different platforms, these things are relevant to other kind of platforms, other cloud providers. I know as you're saying that, I love Google. I love Google products. I find them really easy to use, but I have used all the other products, and I feel like everything that we sort of aim to do is use this as a platform to, yes, skill you it specifically in like Google Cloud, but aware that like this stuff is really valuable across the board, and there's lots of crossover. So really, once you know one, you can kind of apply it across to the other products as well. So that's who we are. I'm doing this program virtual just because I want to reach as many people as possible. I know that it's very difficult for people to get around Atlanta, especially in the evenings. People have, other priorities. So I want to make it as easy as possible for us to get together and learn. Um, Selfishly, I want to learn. I'm a data engineer, but I'm not certified yet in the technology, but I use a lot of the things that are part of the certification. So I wanted to get certified, and I wanted people to learn with me. So this is really the impetus for having this program. And Google does a great job of supporting this whole like road to GDG certification, which is really helpful. So I'm here to help organize the resources and then have people join me on this journey. So I hope we can accomplish that. So today, again, talk a little bit about the demand for the computing rules. We've touched on that a little bit. We're going to talk about why should we even certify? What are the benefits of that? We'll go into the details about the specific exam that we're going to focus on this round, knowing asterisks that in the future, we hopefully will do this program again for other of the pathways. And then sort of the resources we're going to learn, next steps, all that jam. So I think we kind of touched on this. Zach sort of touched on it, in terms of where we're at kind of in the current economy and the needs. So everything kind of seems crazy right now, but should be told, like, cloud jobs are growing. Like, these skills are very, very, very much needed. What you see in the news, or even what you've experienced in your personal life, you may think, oh, that's not the case. I'm telling you, it's the case. People are just needing to find where they need to be, right? And other companies, including the company I work for, MailChimp, which is Intuit, they are hiring like crazy because we need skilled people who are able to execute these sorts of jobs. So, you see all these models, you see all this news for this technology, but it's really hard to actually implement data and models and some of the fancy technology in an enterprise environment. And when we talk about these skill sets, this is what we're aiming to get people involved in, right? I know for me, the people I'm working with and the jobs that we're hiring around me are people who are skilled in taking rough data from streams of data, from raw data, structured data, and putting it into enterprise environments that then enterprise customers, whether it's the finance team, whether it's the product team, marketing, all these teams can then be able to readily use that data to build insights, to build products. That's what data engineering is about, and those are the people we need. So all of these skills that we're talking about are skills that are definitely needed. And we're at GDG Atlanta really focused on making sure we get people those skills, and we get those people then in front of the companies that really need them. So yeah, these skills are in high demand, and I really think they will remain so, right? Because this is where companies are getting their most value. So we're gonna move into why are we looking to certify? Why does it matter? Why are we doing this Google certification? What are the benefits? And again, I touched on this a little bit in terms of having these skills is really valuable for companies. Having this certification kind of gives a company a little bit more of a structured way of understanding, what do you know? At a baseline, what are the tools you know? How do you use those tools? Do you understand how they work in an enterprise context? that's what these certifications really measure, is not that you can just follow along, but that you know how all of these tools kind of fit into the larger business context. We'll get a little bit more into the difference between some of the exams, the associate exams versus the professional exams, which you're focusing on. But the professional exams particularly focus on not just knowing how to use the tools, but how to develop, plan, and execute the tools in the wider like business context. So that you can actually be kind of like a business leader within your org in terms of implementing these different products, these tools, within your company. So the certification, it kind of serves as a benchmark for your current job, for jobs that you're applying for, of like what you know, and kind of how you know how to apply it. And so that's why we're here. So it's good if you want to kind of level up in your current position, and it's also excellent if you're trying to advertise yourself to future employers. And just in Google in general, there are extra benefits. Yeah, like you can add the badge onto your LinkedIn. Yeah, exactly. Roman's got some swag. There's certain swag that you can only get if you're certified. It puts you in front of a network of other people who are skilled in these tools, again, which helps you sort of increase your visibility at your current job or potentially increase your visibility for future jobs, right? So the network is amazing. Just like if you're trying to find somebody to help with something, or kind of find people who work at different types of positions, or just network in general for people who maybe are solving problems that you're interested in, once you're kind of connected in this ecosystem, like there's somebody out there for you, right? So I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? You just get those sort of bonus points and uh, extra like sort of notification. So we are very lucky today that Roman, who is the GDG Lawrence organizer, is here. He's going to introduce himself, kind of give a little bit about his experience leading a similar program and why certified, just from a very individual perspective. So Roman, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you guys hear me well? Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Jessica. Again, since the first time that you reached out to me, I'm like, this is going to be an amazing cohort of people at GDG Atlanta. So kudos to you, your co-organizer, Zach, and everybody at GDG Atlanta for putting this together. So again, my name is Roman. I am a Flutter GDE, a Google developer expert in Flutter. I am also a lead organizer here at GDG Lawrence. So you see how we collaborate across communities. So this is amazing. We lift each other up, we empower each other up. So this is great. I just wanted to say also, I am a certified as an associate cloud engineer, and I am also a professional cloud architect, all by just studying the same material that you're getting right now. So the same way that Jessica did, she was actually bringing people together and bringing people along for the ride. I did the same thing. I put it together. I brought a bunch of people, and like about 10 people got certified. We all got certified. Again, guaranteed. Once you commit to it, and then you're really focused, you're able to accomplish those goals. So every piece of material that Jessica is going to provide to you here in throughout these series of sessions, once you digest that and you absorb it, and then you're committed to continuing and focusing on that, it is guaranteed that you will pass it. Why? Because Google has put this amazing, great resources out there for us to be certified. And their goal is to accomplish like a large number of certified folks out there. As the slides mentioned and they showed earlier, again, cloud skills are in high demand. I could tell you by personal experience, I am a software engineer in the medical field. I am also a mobile developer outside. My applications were really dull and they were very basic. But once I acquired some of the cloud skills that are required out there, I was able to create applications more robust, more complete. That made me a more complete developer. It gave me an edge over other folks in my company. It made me more attractive out there for recruiters, also even allowed me to increase my salary at my job because it gave me, again, like I said, an edge over all the other people. I work with data scientists every day at Philips in the medical field, and I could tell you that as a professional data engineer, if you get the certification, you're going to be in one of the hottest markets out there. Again, unfortunately, even in the current tech job climate, you would be in high demand. So please make no mistake, getting the certification, getting the required knowledge provided by all these resources that we're going to be providing to you is going to be an amazing asset to you. Like Zach mentioned, it's going to upscale your career, but it's going to give you an edge over other people. So kudos to you guys for putting this together. So again, welcome to the beginning of your new career. So if you're here to get more knowledge in the cloud, kudos to you. If you're here to switch or just to enhance your current tool set, this is an amazing opportunity. And the best thing is that we're going to do it together as a community. So again, thank you, Jessica, for inviting me. We can continue going on the slides, and I can, again, throughout this session, I can answer any questions that you may have.
Great. Thanks so much, Roman. Yeah, make sure I'm on here. Just to reiterate, like, this is a group effort, right? Selfishly, this is something I wanted to do myself. And I noticed, like, in my entire career, every academic experience I've had, and it's increasing. There's so many resources out there. I mean, it's sort of the good and bad of like the information world, right? Is there's so many resources for learning, but you get like analysis paralysis, right? Like, how do you farm that down to something that is efficient and useful? And I found that like all the Google resources are amazing. The pathways are amazing, but sometimes you just need somebody or a group to kind of put you in the right direction to say, let's check these boxes together. These are the boxes. These are where all the resources are located. And if we kind of go with this together, A, it gives us the motivation to do it because there's other people doing it. B, it kind of, you get rid of the noise. You kind of focus on like eyes on the prize. There's a pathway. These are the resources I need. So that's really what we're trying to accomplish here is help everybody like get to the same point and not have to worry about sort of a lot of all the extra that's hard to parse through, right? So our job is to kind of get as the resources organized, and then it's all of us together that will kind of go on this pathway. So the Google Cloud offers many certifications. Roman mentioned his group last year did the Associate Cloud Engineer. That is one of the more entry-level certifications. It is, you can kind of see some of the recommendations here from Google. It's recommended for people that have about 6 months of hands-on experience, or you're completely new to Google Cloud resources. For us, where there's other kind of the other certifications are professional level certifications. These certifications have a little bit more recommendation for professional background. You've sort of been in the space for a couple of years. You've had a little bit more hands-on experience. I'll say the caveat here is they say 1 year hands-on experience with Google Cloud. To be honest with you, if you have experience in any cloud and you have the business experience, if you're committed to following the pathway and like hatching and like going through the skills, I feel like it's something that you can kind of jump into this and sort of convert your previous cloud experiences into Google Cloud. So I would kind of like be a little bit more open to that possibility if you do have kind of the work experience, but not necessarily in Google. As long as you have some cloud experience and kind of understand sort of the baseline kind of tool sets. Like I said before, all these cloud providers do kind of check boxes in terms of certain types of tools, and they're just called different things. So if you kind of have that knowledge background, I feel like you will be able to kind of join us as well. So don't be scared off by that.
I'll add something else to that, Jessica. Yes, I am also AWS certified. Yeah, I said the A word. So yes, I am AWS certified I am an associate cloud engineer as well. And I started with AWS. I do have those certifications. That is what actually allowed me to, like you've mentioned a couple of times, you've alluded to that all these knowledge, even though we are learning on top of the Google Cloud and getting the Google tooling, all these cloud knowledge is actually transferable. Like you could use it in multiple clouds. I could tell you because I've also worked in Azure. And just because we're here, this is a trust circle. I can tell you the Google Cloud is the friendliest of all the clouds. Not because I'm saying it, not because we're here using the Google Cloud, but to me is the friendliest. Nothing against the others. I just love the Google Cloud a lot more. But yes, exactly what you just said. All these knowledge you can actually is actually transferable to other ones. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would agree. As someone who has experience with multiple cloud providers, I find Google to be the friendliest. But realistically speaking, like, and I've talked about this professionally and all stuff, organizations are not going to remain siloed in individual cloud services. So cloud services are definitely starting to become more a la carte. There's different pieces of each cloud that are really good at certain things, and different businesses have even different aspects of one business have different needs that maybe call for one or the other, and then they connect. So kind of understanding all of the pieces is really powerful, and just knowing that, again, the days of an organization being just a Google shop or just an AWS shop is probably not realistic anymore, especially for a large organization. Again, I'm a volunteer, so hopefully that's okay for me to say, but that's just realistic. But again, what Roman was saying, I find Google to be the friendliest. I prefer it. I hope to continue working in it as much as possible. But realistically, like, we have to make sure we set ourselves up, for success. So just like remember all of that as well. So again, diving a little bit into the scope of like an associate versus a professional level certification. Associate level certifications are more like jumping into the technical of like how to use the different tools and kind of just execute on them. And really the level up of a professional level certification is sort of adding the business requirements aspect to it. So a lot of the questions have to do with designing, planning, reliability, permissions granting, some of the more technical aspects that lead into sort of deploying the actual tool set and like end-to-end solutions for a business. So it definitely has that next level of a mid, someone who's a mid or even senior level person who's looking at kind of the available tools, figuring out what's the best tooling for the scenario I'm working on, and making recommendations that are both based off of resource management, appropriateness of solution. And so there's that kind of next level of the professional level certification. And for kind of all these reasons, as well as what we said in terms of what the current job market is looking at and our feelings of like what companies are looking for, really that professional level certification for us is what we felt is most appropriate. Again, also it's something that I'm working in this space and sort of actually building some of these solutions myself. So I had like a personal interest in sort of following this pathway as well and kind of filling in some of the gaps. So that's sort of where we think is sort of the most bang for the buck at this time. Now, GDG Atlanta, like we're just getting started. So we have plans in the future to do other certifications. If we have people who are really like, hey, I want that more entry-level ACE, Associate Cloud Engineer, it can happen, right? So one thing at a time, this is just where we're putting our resources. It's just me and Zach at this point. So if you're interested in being more involved with GDG Atlanta, please let us know because we could always use help. So this is where we're at right now. So yes, awesome. So just a little bit about the exam. Specifically, if you're not familiar, they're 2 hours in length. They're multiple choice. There's no actual prerequisites. Again, the kind of prerequisites that are listed in terms of the courses are more just like the expectation of knowledge base you have before going into the pathway. That is sort of helpful. But there's no like applied prerequisites that you have to check off before even being allowed to take the exam. Like you can study with us and pay to take the exam and do what you will. So it's more just like the recommended background that one should have that would make this experience most useful to you is really having some of that actual applied experience and at least a year kind of in the sort of working in cloud environment. So
I want to add something to, I like to add some color to the things that you've been saying. So for
yes,
the exam,
please.
costs $200, is 2 hours, 50 questions, multiple choice. Some of the folks that are in here right now in attending could tell you a couple of experiences of taking it online. So if you're ready to take the exam, when you're ready to take the exam, my suggestion to you, now that COVID levels are a little bit low in certain areas, be cautious about that, but make sure if you could take it in person, go take it in person. If you cannot, then you can take it online. But I could tell you that a couple of people had some issues taking it online. I did myself when I took the professional one. But again, it's 2 hours, multiple choice, $200. And if you could take it in person, go take it in person. Yes.
Yeah. So there are 2 different ways to take the exam. You can do it online. Yes, I agree with that. I've taken a couple of certification exams, not specifically from Google, over the last couple of years, and it's pretty invasive. That's like one thing I would say. So even if it
That's
works
the best
out,
way to put it. That's the best way
yeah,
to put it.
like
Yes.
I was shocked. I thought I followed all the rules. They tell you like the room has to be clean. They can't see any visible cords. I have like a multi-screen setup, like I think most of us. Nope, you better get rid of all of your screens. Like you can literally only have your laptop. You
Only
can't have
one screen, exactly. Yeah.
one screen, no peripherals. Like, and they are serious, and they make you take pictures, and they have to look at the room. It's it's definitely a big brother. Yeah. So if you don't want to deal with any of that and you feel safe going to it and you have the access to go to one of the proctored centers, there's so many places that do this, that the Pearson, all the exam locations, it would be a much less invasive experience. This is true. Yeah. So, but again, these are things that as we're going through the program, we can talk more about that strategies. We can go into like stress relievers, different things. If people are like worried about just the actual act of taking the exam, that's stuff we can talk, kind of outside this and think about different strategies for everybody. I'm all open for trying to get people through as much as possible. But thank you for that insight, Roman. So for us, how are we going to be learning? So we are going to be learning online through mostly self-learning resources. This is on-demand training and hands-on labs provided by the Cloud Skills Boost. So Cloud Skills Boost, you might have heard of Quick Labs. Quick Labs is what they used to be called. They were, as my understanding, they were acquired by Google, and now it's just Google Cloud Skills Boost. This is where all of the Google official online videos, little labs where you actually kind of spin up Google Cloud like resources and kind of go through building different applications, things like that. That's where that all lives. So we're going to be focusing on that. How I have it is in each of the 6 events that I just posted about an hour ago in GDG Atlanta, which if you're a member, you probably got like your inbox probably got filled up with all 6 of those. Apologies. Once you RSVP for each of those, within about 48 hours, you should get information from Cloud Skills Boost that you'll get the credits to be able to use Cloud Skills Boost. So if outside of this program, if you go into Cloud Skills Boost, you get a certain amount of like free learning, like if you're new to it, but eventually that runs out and you actually have to pay for credits to then use and take all the little labs and stuff. So with us, as long as you RSVP to our official event, Meredith, I'll get to your question in a second. As long as you RSVP to the official event, for each event, you'll get activated for 3 months of Cloud Skills Boost. And actually, it will kind of like restart for each week. So even though our weeks are 6 weeks spread over 12 weeks, basically, because we're doing every other, You don't have to worry about running out of credits. Each event will kind of like restart your 3-month cycle. So you'll be able to kind of go in there and go through all of the pathways. I've actually linked the required badges and videos pathways for each week. And our expectation is that everything I've linked within each week, you will go through all of the videos and badges before we meet. And then when we meet, we'll kind of go over it. We'll do some practice questions together. If anybody has any technical questions or things they didn't understand, we'll discuss it as a group. Time dependent and depending on how people feel, if somebody wants to do like a talk back about something they learned and wants to kind of give like a 5-minute presentation about, hey, I'm doing this at work and I applied this, like I use Vertex AI for something in this way, and they want to talk about that, those will be great opportunities. It's more for us to come and kind of go over what we have already sort of studied. This is also why I've spread the 6 sessions every other week. Thank you for Roman for convincing me of that. I thought that was a great plan. That gives you
great.
2 weeks, right? 2 weeks to do each of the requirements for each session, so that overall of the 6 sessions spread out over 12 weeks, I think it's about 13 badges that you'll go through, and there's several hours a piece. So please, if you're going to do this, do not wait until like the day of our meetup to do it, because you will not be very happy. And yeah, so that's sort of what we're trying to do, is spread it out. Again, at the end of this slide deck, there's a link for our Slack workspace, which we'd want everybody to join. That's where people can ask questions if they're struggling with one of the labs. Even if sometimes there's like technical weird stuff with the labs. If you don't kind of do it in incognito mode and all, I can go over that. I figured some of this stuff out. We're here for you. And then in the in-between weeks, we're trying to, or Zach is actually trying to have some speakers that we'll do in hybrid. If you're in Atlanta, some of them will actually be speaking at Kit Labs, which is in near downtown Atlanta, but they will be hybrid. So if you want to get on virtually and see some of our great speakers, just additional like upskilling, learning new skills, just learning from other people in the business space. That's what we're going to do in the middle. So I want to look at some of these questions. There's no session number 2 on the schedule presently. Are we skipping that week? I will double check. I think I had posted everything. If I didn't, Meredith, that's on me. There are 6 sessions, not including today. They will be every other week starting February 27th. And I'm going to get into some of this. I think I have it mapped out. I already talked about Cloud Skills Boost. When do the credits expire? The credits are 3 months from each session.
Correct.
So February 27th is our first session. You'll get Cloud Skills Boost for 3 months from then. But then we also have a session in March. It'll kind of shift 3 months from then. I think you'll get an email for every session from Cloud Skills Boost. Yeah,
that is correct.
So you'll kind of get reignited.
What you mentioned about the 3 months, that is correct. Like even at the last session, then you get 3 more months to enjoy it. What happens is everybody gets added to a pool of credits. That's why you get like an insane amount of credits that it will never run out for you. And then you just use up those credits. After those 3 months, then you get taken out of that pool. Pretty much. So the question to Srihasha says like, when do the credits expire? So 3 months after the last session that you signed up. Yeah.
Yep. So effectively our last session will end up in May 8th. So effectively your credits will go 3 months after that. You'll get credits for the May 8th session that will last 3 months after that, which will be great because it's really up to everybody else. We're here providing the links. Yes, you're welcome, Meredith. We have all the links in each week. So it should be as organized as possible. Again, just trying to make it really easy for people to find what they need and spread it out and kind of incrementally build on this pathway. But it's up to you to do the work, to do the badges, to do extra study, practice questions. Again, we're going to do that together. That's a baseline. But we really encourage, that's why we have these 2 weeks in between for people really to take the time for themselves and learn as much as possible from these resources, but then any extra resources that you can find. You know, if you're somebody who really likes the textbook, there is a link here for the actual study guide, right? I think there's like an Amazon link, official boot, yeah. So you can actually buy the study guide, right?
Also wanted to add about the way that you distributed the lessons. Like, you did all the heavy lifting, so people should be thanking you. What you did was amazing, and the way that you put it together so that every 2 weeks you only, for example, for some of us that actually took the A certification, if you even devote like half an hour a day for 2 weeks, you're able to keep a good pace. And if you spread it out like that, as opposed to, like you said, like, oh, at the last day I'm gonna like cram it all, like it doesn't work like that. If you spread it out also the same way that you did it, it's gonna be amazing, and you guys are gonna be able to absorb the information much better. So if you do it like that, if you like devote like roughly like that amount of time every day, half an hour every day, spread throughout 2 weeks, you're gonna do really good.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. So that's exactly what I do. I actually have, it's kind of like an egg timer, or if you've ever done Pomodoro
No,
technique or
that's a
anything.
Pomodoro. I love the
Right.
Pomodoro. Yeah.
So it has the different times, and like, so here's 30 minutes, and you just turn it up to 30 minutes, and it counts down 30 minutes, and then it beeps at me. It's just on my desk. Whatever. And that's literally what I do. I do 30 minutes a day. It's funny. I do 30 minutes of like data eng and 30 minutes of Spanish a day. That's like my thing. And I spread it out. I'm not 100%, but I'm probably like 80% where I get it. There's some days, you know, work and life, there's a lot going on, and it is a lot to add. But kind of compartmentalizing and put it into smaller chunks. That's how we get through. Again, a lot of this selfishly is how I found that works for me. And then I wanted people to go along on the journey. So yeah, I'm trying to organize these resources for myself, and hopefully that's helping other people as well. If there's anything else that people think, oh, what about this idea or this idea, please, I'm always open for suggestions. I'm trying to cover as much as possible. But yeah, I don't know all things. So, and you don't know what you don't know. So here to try to get as many people involved as possible. So just diving in a little bit to the data engineer. Oh, so Harsha, you talked about covering developer and architecture tracks. So you'll notice how like the badging works in Google is that there's a lot of crossover. So you've got like the badging that are sort of subject area badging, but then the pathways for the different certifications sort of have crossover in all of those, right? So for us, we are specifically focusing on this professional data engineering pathway. There are some badges in there that are part of like the architecture badges, and there's some that are developer, but we're not specifically focusing on, if you're asking about like the cloud data architect exam, we're not specifically focusing on that right now. But we'll probably touch on some of that. It's just how Google and the Cloud Skills Boost badges are kind of built. There is crossover. Awesome, cool. So specifically for this specific certification, we've touched on this. I just want to break it down. We're doing bi-weekly live sessions where you guys will not be muted. I promise. We will be all together, and we'll kind of do a review. I'll have some kind of slides at the top. I'll do some sort of fun like Jeopardy or Slido or one of those question things interactive, so that we can practice questions on the fly. We can talk about the answers. Hey, why, discuss why it was B and not A, and if there's any confusion, if anybody had issues with any of the labs in the previous weeks. Hopefully people are talking about that in our Slack channel leading up to it. We can kind of help you ahead of time, but we can continue on that. And then again, I would like, just depending on how involved and gung-ho people are, if there are people that want to do something like a talk back where they learn something specific, and again, I don't want to stress people like, oh, you've got to put a slide deck together, like, this is fun, it's not school, but we're all adults, so you get out of it what you put into it. And having gone through way too much self-imposed education myself, I know that if you can teach somebody something, you have learned it. So if you want to take like 5 minutes to be like, hey, I figured this out and I thought it was really cool, and like share with the group, you'll be amazed at what gets in your brain from doing that. So I will encourage people, but I won't make that a requirement. It will just be for each week. If there's somebody who's interested in that, if it's not myself, we will also maybe have that. So it'll be interactive. I'm working on getting some Google swag prizes, so I might like surprise people with things in the mail, for show, for every week that you're around. And then just we want to build a community, right? And just encourage people to like feel like, again, do that 30 minutes a day, or kind of be on a learning journey. And then also just like use this space as an opportunity to learn about how do we apply these skills in our jobs? How do we articulate what we've learned? Yes, Jose, thank you very much for sharing that link to the data engineer pathway. And any like job resources. I'm going to try, just as a GDG leader, to share kind of anything we find. A lot of what I find will be Atlanta specific. That's just our focus. But the world is weird right now, and there are remote and hybrid opportunities. So it still, I think, applies to people who maybe aren't in Atlanta, but we are still maintaining that we are in Atlanta, or at least Georgia based organization, and really wanting to leverage the skills and knowledge base that is here, and really try to get people here like connected with the amazing organizations that are based in Atlanta. My company, MailChimp, there's huge company, we've got Delta, we've got Home Depot, we have all these amazing organizations, including Google has a very large office here. And we want to get people kind of in our community, in front of them. But we're doing this virtually, so we welcome all, because we can all help each other. So yeah, we're going to have our on-demand sources, and then our Slack workspace will be where we kind of chat in between our actual virtual meetups. So here's the calendar and sort of an overview of what we'll focus on in each of those sessions. Here we are, February 6th. February 27th will be our first study group. That'll be a little more diving into the certification itself, generally what's covered on the exam, prep, and foundations. Again, what I've added in the actual event pages are the links to the things you should do before February 27th. Please and thank you. Again, I love everyone, and we want to go on this journey together, but we're all adults and we all have our own responsibility to take ourselves on this journey. You gotta left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, right? So I will put the stuff in front of you, and then it's up to you to kind of do with the stuff what you will. And then we'll come together on February 27th and all the other weeks and kind of distill all that stuff, right? So, and we'll get more out of those sessions if you kind of put the work into it. I work it into it. So into it up front. And so then March 13th, we get into data warehouses and batch pipelines. March 27th is streaming pipelines. I think that includes a bit of like pub sub messaging, things like that. April 10th is smart analytics, bit of Looker, ML, AI. So you get some of the Vertex AI bit in there. Then we get into serverless data processing, data flow foundations, data proc, I think, which is distributed processing. It's basically where you can run Spark in Google. And then we'll get more into our data flow pipelines and operations. So that's kind of covering the gamut. Again, for each of week, I've put sort of the things that fall under that week that we ask that you complete before we meet up. And then it amounts to, I believe, 13 badges. Perhaps a basic question. In this track, do we have to know Python, or could we program in Java? I believe a lot of the examples are given in Python, but I actually think you can use either. It's I think most of the things, I'm having a little bit struggle answering because I am a Python programmer, but it is my understanding that you can use either Python or Java. And then there's a fair amount of data engineering that involves SQL. So BigQuery is all the SQL happiness. And I will tell you from experience, if you are in the space and you know Python and or Java plus SQL, you can do anything.
I want
So
to add to that,
yeah.
Jessica, that
Yeah.
let's say when it comes to completing the badges, like some of the, it's whatever the labs offer. For example, let's say some of the labs might give you even some options, like maybe if you complete the Python version and then the Java version, sometimes they give you like a couple of options. In the case
Yes.
of, let's say, general knowledge, for example, for completing the certification, you don't need to be like an expert in one of those technologies, because it's just another tool for you to complete, let's say, the certification. But you're totally right. Python is going to give you, it's kind of like the leader in the industry as far as like data processing, like creating like models and predictive algorithms and stuff like that. Java also like leads the pack in that front, but yeah, it gives you a leverage of other people, and it's a good skill to have. But as far as the certification goes in this program, you don't need to be like an expert in Python. That just wanted to put
No, the questions are not program language specific. So there aren't
correct.
questions that are like, is this the correct Java code? Is
Yes,
this the correct
exactly.
Python code? The questions are more infrastructure piece, like, given this business problem, is it appropriate to, like, would this go into cloud BigQuery, Bigtable, SQL Spanner? Like, so you kind of have to know a little bit about the different tool sets and like what's used for what in what situation. So that's more what the questions are in the exam. So they're not program language specific in that sense. Again, and this sort of gets into what I was talking about, how there's these sort of with the skill badges, there's these types of skill badges, but then in terms of the pathways, there's crossover to like which badges we do. So like you've got all these infrastructure modernization badges, but I'm just looking at the badges off my memory. Automating and deploy manage. I'm not sure if any of those fall into data engineering, but like there's a selection across like all of these topics that fall within the data engineering pathway, right? So it's sort of like this like smattering of 13 badges that effectively come from a combination of these types of skill badges. Hopefully that answers your question from before. So we sort of talked about this, like what is a data engineer? We're kind of designing the actual processing systems, how to operationalize these applications and machine learning models, and also ensuring the solution quality. So you're ensuring like the data quality, the pipelines that are pulling in the data, and then what you're effectively feeding to machine learning data scientists is useful, and you can actually deploy that in a production environment. So that's in a very small nutshell what a data engineer is, and you can read more about these descriptions kind of on the certification site. Again, this is basically what I have ended up putting in each of our event links, right? So I've gone through and pulled out like the links to all of these videos and badges and like labs, and I've put them in the specific week that they belong to, so that when you're like looking, like I've registered for this for week 1, you know that I've actually added the review of the exam guide and some practice questions, as well as the on-demand training. The links are in there in the event that I've created. For week 2, these links about modernizing data lakes are in the week 2 event that I've created. So like you don't have to go around. Like I said, there's a lot of these resources all over Google websites and different places. You don't have to go find it. Like I found it for you and I put it where it needs to go. So RSVP for the event, you'll get your Cloud Boost credits, and look at the links that I've put in there and do the things, and you are on your way. Again, so here is our link. Again, I'm going to share this slide deck with the people in this event. You get an email later about it. I'm going to check, Meredith, that all of the weeks are posted properly. And so you can join our Slack group here. Within our Slack group, I've created a specific channel for the study group. So I will ask, like, once you're in there, get into the study group channel. And if you have study group specific questions, put them in that channel. You can also DM me directly in there, or if you have any questions, you can email the organizers through the chapter page. That will go to me and Zach, and one of us will respond to you. Where else can you get us? You can get us on our LinkedIn page, Google Developers Group Atlanta. I think that's so far what I have. We're working on our meetup and getting the meetup page connected to our official chapter page, but I would ask that you'll get the most up-to-date information right now if you're on our actual Google Developers Group Atlanta chapter page, which is like gdg.community.dev/gdg Atlanta, something of that ilk. That is where pretty much everything I've posted on social media has linked back to our official chapter page. So we'll ask that you get the most information there. Yep, and thank you, Zach, for sharing. That's my LinkedIn. Please, you can find me on there. That's a good place to message me. I'm pretty responsive on there as well. I repost and reshare all of our GDG information on there. So if you can't find it somewhere else, you'll find it on my page. And there's Zach. Right, so next steps. The RSVP for all these weeks will be open I think I've set it to open at 8 p.m., so it'll be 3 minutes. You'll be able to RSVP, please do so. You need to RSVP to get the cloud credits. So you get the cloud credits. You're going to follow, you're going to do all the things. You're going to prepare, you're going to read the prep guide, the practice questions. You're going to go through these on-demand trainings, get your badges. And I've also linked videos. These are effectively pre-existing Google videos of them going through like the week 1 materials. So you're getting like a preview of stuff that we will then review again in our actual meetup. So having all this ahead of time will make us way more effective for our study groups. And, I know everybody's time is of the essence, right? So we want to make sure that these Monday nights are well utilized. People are getting out of it what they need. And really, I think that requires everybody to sort of put in the time ahead of the week so that we can all kind of teach each other what we've learned, help each other if we don't understand something, and be on this journey together. Now, a couple of bonus points. So we're going to, again, I said I might have like some prizes, random things that I send to people who come each week. That's TBD. I have access to some stuff that I'm going to get, and once I see that, I'm going to decide. The other thing that we're going to try to do is we're going to kind of have a system where we track like the badges that people complete. If you complete all 13 badges and you attend at least half of the study sessions, you'll be eligible to get a voucher for the certification. Okay. We're still kind of ironing out the details of this, but that will kind of get you in the running to get a voucher for the certification if you do all of the badges, and we have ways of finding out, and then and half of the sessions. We just think that's the most equitable way, and we want to reward people, right? The exam, we realize it's it's time, it's money. Not everybody has that. They're trying to get to the next level of their career so that they can get the money, right? So we might not be there yet. Great. So we're going to try to provide that to people the best of our ability. Again, beyond that, ironing out the details. But that is what we were attempting to offer at the end of this. So you'll be eligible for that as well. I think that's mostly what I have. Oh, look at that. Oh, yep. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, see, I got it. I think I set this up for an hour and a half, but I really wanted to get it in an hour. So if you have any questions, comments, complaints, it's fine. Like, it's Monday, so I'm sure there's a complaint about something. Please let me know. Again, we will share this. We will save the recording. We will share the slide deck to the participants. I will check all my events are set up correctly. And yeah, ping me on LinkedIn, get into our Slack workspace, start asking questions, start interacting. Yeah, if there's any other questions, please let us know right now. Otherwise, Roman, Zach, do you have any final thoughts or things that you'd like to say? Thank you so much, Meredith. I appreciate that.
Just want to say real quick before I head out, thank you so much for inviting me. You guys are doing an amazing job. That's why I'm bringing also some of my community members in here, because I love these type of community events, and this is an amazing resource to take advantage of. So thank you, everybody.
And I'll just say again, thanks for coming out. Looking forward to growing with everyone here together. So.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a lovely evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Looking forward to seeing you all soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.